The sleek spacecraft, Odyssey, was on its final approach to the mysterious planet they had been sent to investigate. It was a mission like no other, a quest for knowledge, a chance to explore the uncharted corners of the galaxy. The crew was composed of 6 astronauts, each experts in their field, ready for the challenges ahead. Captain Alex Reynolds sat at the helm, eyes focused on the glowing map in front of him. His mind raced with the possibilities of what lay ahead, the mysteries this uninhabited world might reveal. Yet, the calm of the space journey was abruptly shattered by a sudden sharp noise, a warning signal blaring from the control panel. "Shit! We're losing altitude," Alex yelled, gripping the control stick harder. The ship lurched violently, sending alarms blaring and flashing across the cabin. The crew was thrown against their seats as the Odyssey spun out of control. Alex struggled to regain command, but it was clear that something had gone terribly wrong. "Brace for impact," he ordered. There was a moment of pure, deafening silence as the ship plummeted through the atmosphere. The last thing Alex saw was the barren surface of the planet rushing toward them, its dusty landscape marred by jagged mountains and vast, empty deserts. The crash was inevitable. Everything went black. Alex slowly regained consciousness, his head pounding and his body aching. His vision was blurry, but he could make out the shape of the wrecked Odyssey around him. Smoke filled the cabin, and sparks shot from the broken wiring. He was alive, but where was everyone else? "Reynolds, can you hear me?" The voice was faint, but unmistakable. It was Dr. Emma Hayes, the ship's biologist and one of his closest friends. She had been the first officer, but her training in emergency medicine made her invaluable now. "Emma, where are you?" Alex called weakly, his voice hoarse. He stumbled out of his seat, only to collapse to the floor in a daze. The ship had crash-landed in what appeared to be a vast desert, the horizon stretching endlessly before them. The stormy sky was a deep shade of violet, streaked with hints of red, a sign that the planet's atmosphere was volatile and unwelcoming. "Over here," Emma's voice came again, more urgently this time. Alex forced himself to move, his legs stiff and shaky. He crawled through the wreckage and found Emma, unconscious but alive. She was pinned under a beam. But with some effort, he managed to free her. Together, they made their way to the airlock. Outside, the others were already starting to gather. The crew had been shaken, but everyone seemed to be accounted for, except for Lieutenant Jason Carter, the ship's engineer. "Where's Carter?" Alex asked, scanning the wreckage. I don't know," Emma replied, her voice quivering. "He was in the engine room when we crashed. I'm not sure he made it." The crew was devastated. Jason had been their anchor, their steady hand during the long journey. But there was no time to mourn. They had to survive. "All right, we need to assess our situation," Alex said, trying to sound composed. "We've got limited supplies. First thing, we need to establish shelter and figure out how to communicate with mission control." "We're not going anywhere," Emma said, her voice thick with concern. "The ship is down for good. We need to focus on finding water, food, and keeping warm." The crew set off toward the nearest hills, hoping to find signs of life or shelter. The air was thin, and each step felt like an eternity as they trekked through the dusty, barren landscape. Days passed. The Odyssey was beyond repair, and with each passing hour, the situation grew more dire. The planet seemed hostile. Strange electrical storms, extreme temperatures, and the ever-present threat of dehydration. The crew rationed their water, but it wouldn't last much longer. "Anything?" Alex asked, looking through his binoculars at the horizon. "I'm not seeing anything," Emma said, wiping the sweat from her forehead. "This planet is completely barren. It's like it's empty." "Maybe we're just in the wrong place," Alex suggested. "We need to find shelter. If we can't find a way off this rock, we need to at least survive until help arrives." But as they explored further, they started to notice something strange. The ground was littered with unusual metallic objects, strange, geometric shapes half buried in the sand. They didn't belong to their ship. These were ancient remnants, the kind that suggested someone or something had been here long before them. "Do you see this?" One of the other crew members, Lieutenant Mara Allen asked, crouching down to examine a strange artifact. "It's alien," Emma said, kneeling beside her. "These are artifacts from another civilization." Alex's heart skipped a beat. They were not alone. As the crew continued to explore, they discovered more remnants of the alien civilization, an entire hidden city buried beneath the surface. The architecture was unlike anything they had ever seen, and it seemed to radiate with an eerie energy. But it wasn't just the city that caught their attention. They began to find signs of life. Strange, glowing creatures skittered across the desert, and there were strange markings on the walls of the underground ruins, suggesting the presence of an intelligent species. The crew set up camp in one of the structures, but that night, things took a darker turn. They began to hear whispers in the darkness. At first, they dismissed it as the wind, but the sounds became more distinct, more deliberate. "Did you hear that?" Mara whispered, eyes wide with fear. Before anyone could answer, the ground beneath them began to tremble. A deep, resonant hum filled the air, as if something deep within the planet was waking up. Something ancient. The crew realized too late that the planet was not uninhabited. Beneath its surface, a long-dormant species had been waiting. As the strange creatures began to emerge from the depths, the crew was forced into a desperate fight for survival. "We have to leave," Alex shouted as the creatures swarmed toward them. But their escape was cut off. The only way out was through the very heart of the alien city, where a massive glowing structure pulsed with an otherworldly energy. "We need to get to that power source," Alex said. "If we can activate it, we might be able to communicate with mission control." With the creatures closing in, the crew made their way through the ruins. They faced countless dangers, traps set by the ancient civilization, wild animals, and the ever-present threat of the unknown. It was a race against time. As they reached the heart of the city, they uncovered the truth. The planet wasn't just a burial ground for an ancient species. It was a prison. The energy they had been harnessing was not just for power. It was a containment system, keeping something far more dangerous sealed away. With the creatures closing in, the crew had no choice but to destroy the power core, hoping it would collapse the system and free them from the planet's deadly grip. The crew managed to escape the planet, but not without scars. The ship's communication systems had been destroyed in the chaos, and it would be years before they could return home. But as they left the planet behind, Alex couldn't help but wonder, what else was out there, hidden in the vastness of space? What other secrets waited to be uncovered? Their survival was just the beginning, and the universe, vast and unexplored, was full of mysteries waiting to be solved.